When it comes to action, this is an area a lot of people struggle with. We have women who do too much. They do too much. They're overachievers. They're the A personality. They cannot sit still. This used to be me. And it's still something I'm working on because I love to go oftentimes. And then we have the other woman who has big dreams for herself, who wants to do so much, who has all these ideas, but something, and she doesn't really know what it is, something is holding her back, so she's procrastinating a lot. Which one are you? Are you the overachiever, or are you the person who wants to do all these things, all the things, but she's not making them happen? Which one are you? And we're going to break down each so it makes more sense to you. Because if we don't have this part right, we can be as honest and as reflective as we can be, but there is going to be an empty void inside of us because we're not taking action. Or we are taking action, but we're not taking action from a soulful place. We're not taking action from a soul-led place. So we're still going to keep ourselves hostage in a way because we're either overdoing or we're not doing enough. And if you're somewhere in between, you wouldn't even be here. That's why I'm asking, which one are you? Chantel, the one who has dreams but can't seem to achieve them. Thank you for sharing and being honest. See, the honesty always kicks in. For me, I was the first one. I couldn't seem to do enough. I was always doing something. In the classroom, I was the overachiever. At home, I was the overachiever. On the court, so I played basketball, I was the overachiever. I always put in extra work. I played on 3 teams at once for a very long time, killing myself. As I was playing on all those 3 teams, I even picked up a job. This was when I was very young, like 15 years old. I even picked up a job. So I was balancing, I was juggling, making sure I was great in school, because in Sweden we don't get grades until we get older. But once we started having grades and getting grades, that became my obsession too. So I was obsessed with trying to prove my worth at home to my dad. I was obsessed with trying to play really good on the court, on the basketball court. And I was obsessed with filling my schedule with things all the time. Because I was trying to overcompensate. I was trying to make up for the void I felt inside. And that was the void that I didn't believe I was good enough. I thought there was something wrong with me. I thought the next person, the next girl was better than me. I didn't feel like my dad saw me for who I truly was. I didn't feel like my mom fully had my back. I was even bullied growing up in 3rd grade by 3 girls who were 3 years older than me. But luckily I spoke up. And my mom went and did something about it. So my whole life was filled with action. Action, 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 action. Sometimes it was something that I loved, but most of the time, even if it was something that I loved, I didn't approach it from a place of freedom, from a place of excitement, from a place of, oh my gosh, this is in my highest good, and this is what I truly, truly want to do. I didn't. So I was overcompensating for the way that I felt. So a lot of the things that I did felt like a burden, felt like too much, felt like I got so exhausted. And I overdid things so much that I started having back pain, I started having headaches, strep throats, because I did not listen to myself. And because I wasn't listening to myself, I started having physical symptoms. On the other end, there are women who feel like they're also, and realize here that the starting point is the same. This is why the first module in Soulful Self-Love is about self-worth. That's the key part. That's like what holds self-love together. Because if we don't believe we're worthy, there's no way that anything that we do is going to have the fulfilling effect that we desire. So we're all starting off feeling like we're not good enough. And some women take off and they overdo to try to compensate for the way that they feel. And then we have other women who don't do enough because they talk themselves out of situations. Their self-talk is different. Over here, the women that overdo, that overcompensate, they're like, I have to do more because the more I do, the more praise I'll get, the more recognition I'll get. That's how it was for me. I knew that when I had a really good basketball game, my dad would show me affection, attention, and love. I knew when I brought home great grades that my dad would acknowledge that. He would appreciate that when the teachers would call him. That would make him very happy. And I felt like he saw me the way I wanted to be seen when I did something. But there are women who are completely the opposite. Like Chantel is one of them, who believe that they're not worthy, and they have had the experience, the proof, and this is more of my brother, that even though I do, because I'm not good enough, or I wasn't good enough at the things that I did, I never really got the love, the attention, and the recognition that I was craving. And when I tried, it still didn't work. So now I don't want to do, because if I do, it's not good enough. So what's the point? What's the point? What's the point with it all? Why would I be doing? Why would I try to do anything at all when I still won't receive love? I won't receive the recognition I desire. I won't have the attachment I want. I won't have the affection. I won't get that. So why would I do? And I'm afraid that even if I do and I succeed, that I'm going to fail because I'm not good enough. So if I'm not good enough, why would it work for me? If I take one of Ivana's programs, or why would I take one of her programs? I don't believe that I'm worthy. So even if she teaches some really powerful things and she shows me a lot of different ways of being and she shares all these amazing techniques, I'm not going to do it because I'm already not doing things. And if I do that, it's not going to work for me because I'm not good enough. Thank you, Brenda. It's just not going to work because we're in the group. But I love you and thank you. We're in this closed group. If you're talking about sharing the video. So we have to, as we're exploring day 1 and day 2, when the honesty starts kicking in and when the reflection starts kicking in, we have to start looking at why we're doing what we're doing or why we're not doing what we're not doing and what it's based on. What is my lack of action based on? And what is my overaction, overachieving based on? What is it based on? What is the pillar for that? What is the starting point? Why am I doing what I'm doing, or why am I not doing what I desire to do? What is the reason? Not enough women ask themselves that. They talk about that they don't have enough time because they're doing too much or they're too busy, not understanding that they manifested that life. You're so busy because you've been trying to distract yourself from your pain. You've been trying to distract yourself from yourself. You've been running from yourself. So you've been distracting yourself with all these things, and you're calling yourself a very busy mom or a very busy woman, or you're calling yourself someone who is too depressed, too stressed, too whatever, and she can't do anything. But you leave it at that. You look at the surface level of things. You look at the symptom of things. This is what a lot of people do when it comes to trauma healing. They just look at their symptoms and they don't want to go deeper than that because it's too painful. So if you join Healing Academy, you're going to see that we have to go deeper than that. So I want you to be honest with yourself. I would love if you would write and share why that is, why you're taking the action you're taking, or why you're not taking the action you're taking. You're not taking, I mean. But if you don't want to, that's fine. You can grab a journal after this and you can write it out. That's going to be something that I encourage you to do today. We want to, instead of trying to figure out why we're doing or not doing something, we want to figure out how to change it. So we jump to the how, which you've heard me probably plenty of times say, the how doesn't matter. The how doesn't exist on a soul level. On a soul level, we don't have time. On a soul level, we don't have duality. On a soul level, we don't have judgment. On a soul level, we're not obsessed with our minds. We're not caught up in our intellect and thinking that that's all there is. Friends, I feel everyone needs to be in your programs, any level, everyone needs this. Thank you so much, Brenda. It makes me so happy. We don't do that because we think that we're the clutter in our minds. And what we do is based on what kind of noise is going on in our heads. And we confuse. We confuse our intellect with our highest self. We believe that our intellect is our highest self. We believe that our intellect is us. And the action that we take is the action that we take based on what's going on up here. And that's not soul-aligned action. When I ask you to breathe in and do the, you didn't tell me where you felt it, but I feel it in my heart. And I'm assuming you feel it in your heart too. But when we haven't started a healing process, there are organs and centers in our body that are blocked. And when they're blocked, we cannot connect with the spirit side of us, who we are on a soul level. And that's where we need to start tapping in when I'm talking about soul-aligned action. When I shared my programs with you, I told you, I asked you to really ask yourself, is this something that would feel right for me? Is this true to me? Would this help me? And not analyze it, but to pay attention to how it feels. Because we've been taught otherwise. We've been taught to disconnect from our intuition, from our bodies. Early on, we were programmed to listen to everyone but ourselves. And because we escaped our body so much, we're constantly living in our heads, and we've done it so long that we have confused ourselves about who we are. And we think we are the noise in our minds. I read a great analogy about that. The author said, our intellect is like a dog, a pet that needs to be tamed. And when it doesn't get tamed, when you don't tame your intellect and you train it, then it's going to take over you. Just like a dog that's going to run wild and bite people and do all kinds of crazy things. That's what your mind is doing to you, and that's why you're anxious, because you have not trained your mind. And then what's happening, because it's crazy up here, you're making decisions based on that because you think that that's who you are. Every action you take is based on what you're hearing in your head. If you're listening to this and you're like, oh my gosh, I would love to work with her, but your mind is like, oh, it's not going to work for you. You think you're listening to yourself, but you're listening to the clutter in your mind that's been accumulated over the years because you haven't been listening to your body. You get a great opportunity elsewhere and you feel it in your body that this is something that would be something for you, that would help you move forward, that this would be a great opportunity. But in your mind you hear, what makes you think that you can do that? Nah, it costs too much money. That's crazy. What if it doesn't work? What if? What if it doesn't work? What if you get hurt? What if? All kinds of negativity. But because we have identified where our intellect, we have identified with our mind, we think that that's who we are, we cannot do anything but to listen to it. Because instead of you taming the dog, you training the dog is in control of you. And the dog is running wild. The dog is barking. The dog is biting you. The dog is making you bleed. The dog is making you miserable. And you're still keeping the dog without doing something about the dog. Your intellect is driving you crazy. Is making you insane. It's making you depressed. It's making you anxious. It's making you disassociating from the world. It's putting you in spiritual boredom where you feel like nothing is exciting anymore. You have disconnected from relationships. You're not following through with your dreams. Or you're overdoing. Because your mind is telling you the more that you do, the better it is, because the more love you'll get, even though that's not true. But it's what you've been listening to the whole time. So that's all you know. So you allow your intellect, you allow this dog to be in charge of you for the rest of your life. And then when you're on your deathbed, you tell yourself, man, I just wish, or I'm getting goosebumps as I'm saying this. I just wish that I would have listened. I would have listened to my higher self. I just wish that I would have accepted the help that was extended to me in the past. I wish I would have just spent more time with my children, with my nieces, my nephews, with my grandkids, instead of keeping myself occupied with things just because I couldn't deal with the noise in my mind. I wish I would have done this. 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 And I knew at that time that would have been amazing for me. I felt it in my body. I felt it in my bones that I needed to do this. I needed to do that. I had to follow through with something. But I gave in, and I let that dog take over. I let that dog decide what to do with my life, even though I was supposed to be the owner, even though I'm so much more than that. We forget that we're so much more than the clutter in our mind. We forget that we are spirit in a physical body. We forget that if we didn't have a soul, if we weren't that we wouldn't be able to be conscious. We wouldn't be able to continue on after physical death. We wouldn't be able to feel when someone is about to call us. We're thinking about that person and that person calls us. How do you explain that? If all there is the clutter in our minds and our 5 senses. Yes, stop wishing, start doing now. It's not too late. It's never too late. But we use time as an excuse not to do things. And we use past experiences, a past performance as an excuse not to do things.